Hello, students. We are again back with one more interesting episode of Mind Life Bliss Listen to Young Minds. I would just like to ask one question to all of you. How many of you want to be a good leader? Or how many of you want to learn the leadership skills? Or how many of you want to understand that why leadership skills are important for the students? See, in your school scenario, many times you get the opportunity to work in teams, maybe for a project, maybe for a class assignment, maybe for a school event, where you have to distribute the work among your fellow classmates or the other classmates. You have to get the work done by them. You have to be ready with your plan B if anything wrong happens. You have to resolve the conflicts between the members and so on and so forth. So in student life, the leadership skill plays a different role at different platforms. You have to coordinate with the teachers, you have to coordinate with other students, you have to coordinate online, offline, and so many things. So if you start learning these leadership skills at an early age, it means in your school age. So it will give you an added advantages once you start planning your future career, your career path. So, we would be discussing a lot about this topic in our today's session with our today's guest. He is a boy from Pune and he has done amazing work in the area of leadership skills. You will be amazed to listen what he has done till now and what are his visions. So, without a further delay, and I will not tell a lot about him, he will tell everything about him. So, let's welcome our today's guest, Mr. Ameya. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our today's guest, Mr. Ameya. And before we start this interesting topic, which is close to the heart of many students, they all want to learn about leadership skills and how they can be a good leader. So, before we start this important discussion, I request Ameya to introduce himself first.
Yes. So, hello everybody. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Bansal for having me here today. It's a wonderful opportunity to be able to share with today's youth my take on leadership and how I went through the process. So, just to tell you something about myself, I am a national ranker of the ICSC. I stood fourth in India with a 99.2% when I was in 10th. Right now, I'm pursuing science in HSC. I'm a 12th grader now. I'm an author, social entrepreneur, writer, reader, leader, public speaker, guitarist. There are a lot of shades to my personality. Depends which angle do you look at me from. I majorly work in the sector of motivational speaking and writing too. Being a One Direction fan, I'm a soft speaker. I'm just another guy from India. I published my first book when I was back in my 10th grade. And I was leading my school as the head boy back then. And it is a murder mystery called Jeremiah Hook. Apart from that, I've been published in a lot of anthologies and stuff like that. So I have done quite a bit of things. I'm a communication expert. I got certified from Cambridge sometime back when I gave an exam there, which was the PET English assessment test. And yes, so that's about me. I work a lot in the community service sector and I own and run an NGO, or more than an NGO, it's a social profit organization called Zeal, which works in the sector of personality development. And there I have a wonderful co founder called Samira Talwar. So,
Amay, I just want to ask, I'm what you are not doing. I mean, I should ask first of all, rather than asking, introduce yourself. Oh my God, I believe the students, the listener who would be listening to your introduction, they would be just writing down. Oh my God, we need to ask this question, this question, this question. Amazing, amazing. Sorry, I interrupted you in between.
so no, that's pretty much about what my introduction was. And yes, you can always find me somewhere. I call myself a change maker, and I love participating in public speaking activities like MUN, etc. But that's pretty much about me. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is author underscore Ameya underscore survey underscore official. And we can surely connect there. And if you would like to know anything about me, you can talk there for sure.
Amazing, amazing. And in fact, if you agree, I would like to give all your handles and your book details in the description of this podcast.
For
So the
sure.
other students will also get benefit.
For sure, we could do that.
Okay, so Amay, with this phenomenal introduction, I'm just looking forward a lot in this session. So I'm asking you a very basic question. I believe that would be a question in the minds of many students, that how you will define the leadership, because you are in grade 12th now and you have done so many things. So the fundamental questions that what is a leadership, and many a time students just get a misconception about the leadership and the bossism. They are not able to differentiate between these two terms. So if we can just highlight these both the terms, and what is leadership basically?
Yeah, so what I would do is I'll just define leadership properly first, and then we could go to the difference between what bossism and leadership as such is. So, leadership, in my opinion, being a leader, what is being a leader? So, being a leader is being the fundamental base for others' growth. Okay. So, often, it's misconstrued by a lot of students, by a lot of adults also, that being a leader means paving the way, going forward, having followers. No, a leader is usually a base, and people grow over that base. So understanding this fact that being a leader is being the fundamental base for others growth is very necessary. Okay. And you have to be a person, you have to be that person in the group, who will grow with the others. Okay. Who is able to direct their course of actions, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time listen. Okay. So yes, now that is where the fundamental difference between a boss and a leader comes into play. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would like to clarify is we often look at bosses as a negative entity. We think bossism is wrong. You couldn't say it is wrong, okay, because it is not, but it is just a very different term as compared to leadership is.
Hmm.
Okay, so there are a few, fundamental differences which I would like to highlight. So, first of all, a boss is a position. A leader is not a position. A boss requires a position to be able to, exercise that control.
Mm-hmm.
While a leader's main aim is not to exercise control. Okay, so first of all, boss is a position, leader is not. Coming down to how does a boss look at the others in the team, and how does a leader look? So a boss fundamentally looks as the other members in the team as subordinates, as people who are working under him.
Hmm.
A leader, they are his companions, they are his co-workers, they are his companions, they are his friends, you could say.
Hmm.
And but over time, a boss only breeds employees. A leader breeds followers. When there's a leader, he has a huge amount of followers by him. Okay, and followers in what sense? They're nowhere inferior to him, but they believe and trust that leader in, you know blindly. Okay, so when I was leading, my school, and I had a lot of these juniors who are wonderful people. Okay, and I mean, there are a lot of my juniors who know much more than me in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
But they have somewhere started following me. They want to do things the way I did.
Hmm.
you know and that's one thing I always try to put into them. Okay, I'm glad you're trying to follow me, but make sure you do things your way, right? Have your individuality. So a leader will never try to make make it stark clear to people that, okay, he's following me, and there are so many people following me, and because of me they are what they are. This is not something a leader tries to do, while a boss might try to do.
Hmm.
Okay, a boss exercises control, asks for obedience, commands obedience. Not commands, I would say demands obedience. A boss has to demand obedience, a leader commands it. Okay, so a boss usually, gets a reporting high. You have the fingerprint, your, what do you call it, biometrics that you have to submit on
Hmm.
time. A leader has commitment. People want to work for a leader, while a boss has to make them work for himself. There are a few more differences that I would like to highlight. One is a boss would always give tasks. Okay, if I'm a boss, and it is nothing wrong. Okay, it's his work to do.
Hmm.
Boss will assign tasks to his workers, and they will do it in time and resubmit it.
Yes.
While a leader delegates authority. A leader will give complete control of a certain goal to a certain person and expect them to do it. And when I say that I am not delegating work, but I'm delegating authority, it makes a huge impact on the way the person in front of me is going to respond. And
Certainly.
this is something very few leaders understand. Okay. And there's no ideal leader. Every leader has good qualities, bad qualities, good leadership skills, bad leadership skills. And yes, this is something maybe a lot of leaders in themselves have to change. Okay, so none of these qualities individually defines a leader. Okay, out of 10 qualities, say that if a person has 8 of them, he's a pretty good leader. Okay, so there has no been no leader in the history of mankind, in my opinion, who was a perfect leader. I
Yeah.
can find mistakes in every single one.
Hmm.
So that is there. Then a leader will never point out mistakes. A leader will always, come up, maybe just talk about, there's something he'll never point names. He'll say, this is wrong, let's make it up. He doesn't want to tell people that, okay, you made it. A boss
Hmm.
has to do it. Now a boss's task is he gets paid for doing that, right? So he has to do it. He has to tell that person, you're wrong, do this. But he might not necessarily explain what went wrong. So a boss knows what to do, a leader shows what to do. So a leader is surely somebody who will teach and grow with his team. And yes, a boss gets his position because of his qualifications, because of the kind of experience they probably have. But a leadership is a born leader. A leader will always, he may not need a position necessarily to work, and he doesn't need to have experience to be able to lead others. So I think those are majorly the differences between bossism and leadership. I hope I've been able to more or less clarify them. I mean, it's again a broad array of things, but I tried
Certainly.
the
Yeah.
best.
Means I believe if I would be listening this podcast, so I would be making my notes and I would be writing the difference between the leader and the boss, and I would be getting 10 on 10 because I have completed 10 differences. And just to summarize this answer, what I could understand that boss is a fear while leader is a freedom. I could understand your answer in this perspective properly. So, but again, your reply is giving one more question to me, that why for the younger generation, I'm talking about the students who are especially in their teenage. So,
Hmm.
why is it important for them to start learning the leadership skills? And certainly, there is a common doubt in the students' mind that no, now we are kids, and this is not the right age to learn all such kind of things. So how we can just tell the students that there is no specific age to learn that kind of skills? Like you also already mentioned in your answer that leaders are usually born. So how we can tell our young generations that yes, you should start imbibing those skills?
Okay. So, I mean, we can come to the question of whether leaders are born or not later, but why should everybody learn leadership?
Hmm.
Okay, so one thing, okay, let's leave everything out. One thing is, we all want to lead our own lives, right?
True.
Is the most necessary thing to be able to direct the course of actions in one's own life. That is the most basic thing why everybody should know what leadership is, because in today's world we live in such a, I don't know what to say, such a complex system of lives,
Mm.
that at every single turn, every single point in your life, you're going to have somebody or the other who is influencing your life. Good, bad, we don't know.
Yeah.
Unintentional, intentional, we don't know.
Mm.
But at the end, we need to know what is my vision of myself 10 years down the line.
Mm.
And for me to be able to rigorously stick to it and only take the good parts, maybe there are good influences coming in, to be able to choose and take
Mm.
them. That is why you need to know your best leadership skills. Second is, we all have immense potential in different fields. Okay, and unless and until we are born leader, we are not born leaders, I would say. Okay, again, that's something we'll come up to later. But unless and until we have that leadership in us,
Mm.
okay, it is very difficult to bring our entire potential out.
Yeah.
Because leadership may not always mean leading a group. Leadership also means to be able to put your points out there firmly in front when 15 people are giving their opinions.
Mm.
That is also leadership. To be able to make people understand and believe what you are saying is right, also,
Hmm.
while understanding that they are correct too. But I have
True.
an opinion and I want to put it forth.
Yeah.
Or maybe my opinion was not the best. Okay, maybe I need to mold it a little bit to be
Hmm.
able to learn from the others.
Hmm.
But it should never be a case where I had potential, I had ideas, I never put them forth. Or, okay, I wanted to do this, but I never got a chance to because I was never a leader. I could never move the forests of nature and people in
Hmm.
this direction that I made my dream come true. So, leadership, forgetting everything about how things are going to go, if I'm going to be in a team, should I be the best one? Leaving all of that out, the basic is two things: bringing your entire potential out, one, and second is leading your own life. Because now, when I started Zeal, okay, so today I can safely call myself a leader. I might not say that I know everything about leadership and I've accomplished the heights of leadership. No. But I can safely say I'm a leader. And 10-year-old me probably never thought that I'll be running an entire social profit organization. Things happen on time. I met another leader, that's Samira. We worked together. We realized how things go. We realized that, oh, you have this skill set, I have this skill set. We both, even, okay, we are a very, very well to do organization. Okay, so we work in wonderful coordination. But does that mean that me and Samira have the exact same thought process? Absolutely not. Okay, but she's a wonderful leader and so am I, and we are able to understand each other's point of view and find middle ways when we have separate opinions. And she's a very opinionated person and I'm a very opinionated person, but we still can work in perfect sync and coordination. Okay, we have delegated tasks to each other. I know I usually handle the, I am good at handling, speaking to people, everything, all of that sort of work, or maybe trying and growing Zero on an international scale. I'm good at that. I have connections, or I speak well with people. While she's somebody who's wonderful with Google. She does wonderful Google Docs. She knows exactly how to put meetings in place. She knows how to,
A tech hero, I should say.
tech hero, I would say, wonderfully. I mean, she she is good at writing those long job descriptions for people, making those Google forms, sending them across LinkedIn and stuff. She's very good at that. So although, when I'm talking about this international, she doesn't interfere a lot, but where she has an opinion, she'll put it forth for sure. When I don't interfere a lot with Google forms because I don't understand a lot of that. Not that I don't understand it at all, but I do understand less than her, and I accept that very openly. One main quality of a leader is being able to accept that
Yeah.
there are other people who can be better than you in certain aspects.
Hmm.
Okay. So yes, I accept that. So I won't speak too much in it. But when I feel that no, Samira, this should happen in some other way, I will for sure jump in, and she will surely take my views into consideration. So to be able to run because if either she or me, one of us, if was not a good leader, okay, somewhere or the other this coordination would be disturbed. We are just 1 month old, probably Zeal is probably 1 or 1.5 max old. But the funny part is we are already international. We have a wonderful team of people. We are like international as well as pan India. We are working in north, south, east, west. We have
Superb.
projects coming up. The Delhi event has already happened. We have sponsors in line. We have a media partner. We're doing so much already in just 1 point, and that is just because two leaders have come together. So one leader can make so much of change. Imagine when two of them put together work.
And if many will come together, then what will happen?
And now we are recruiting so many leaders, so it's just moving forward with so much of pace. So it is how student councils work. Okay, so when I was the head boy of Hutchings High School, okay, I usually like to speak anecdotal, so I'm just giving examples from my life. So there are two things about this. One is when a lot of leaders are together, it's wonderful. But the one who is in position, so all
Hmm.
of the people are leaders, but the head boy or the head girl is also in the position of a boss in a certain manner,
Yeah.
and you have to execute both roles, okay, because you are answerable to the authorities. So I was the head boy of Hutchings High when I was in my 10th grade, and that time I remember, so we had 10 leaders. We were a team of 12 leaders, so head boy, head girl, and then we had the sports captains and then the 8 house captains, right? So I was usually the one who used to be in touch with the authorities, etc. We were 12 leaders with 12 diverse opinions having to come to consensus in one night. Okay, so because it was an online platform, because we had to do so many things all the time, there was a time when there were times when we were just told, okay, tomorrow you have to do this event, okay, do whatever, you have to put it together. Okay, it used to come suddenly. We were in our 10th grade, we had studies to do, we had stuff to do. I was writing a book, I was busy with that.
Oh my God.
Somebody was giving the dance exam, they're busy with that. I mean, all of us had our priorities, but we knew one thing. We used to study till 12 o'clock, and 12 o'clock we used to sit for a meeting at night, and then we used to work things out. And I think we were one of the best working color parties that I have seen, not just because I was in it, but even after being online, we did so many things. Um, we were online, but we conducted competitions. Okay, we had elocutions, we had so many things that happened that year. In terms of extracurriculars for the students, because one year had gone, and we had just seen people become miserable and miserable and miserable because there was no extracurriculars at school.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the school management themselves had to manage so much. They had to go online entirely. Putting an
Mm.
institution online is difficult. They were so busy with so many things. The teachers were adapting to the teaching techniques. So we realized that it is us who has to take the initiative. We came up, we made the certificates, we did all of it, and we gave it on a platter to the school. Okay, we are ready to do this, just take it. And the school allowed very happily. Why not? And we just kept on growing and growing in that sense. So leaders together work wonders, whether you have different opinions, because every leader, remember, has the ability to listen.
Yeah.
So that is something we require. And I don't think that even if a single person in that group of 12 people was
Mm.
a non-leader, I don't think we would have been able to do anything that we did that year, not in a single thing. So to be able to move through together, I think the youth requires a lot of leadership. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Very nice. And there are certain very important points which you have mentioned, that there should be a mutual connect between the two persons or between the two or the three leaders when they are working in a team. Means, but definitely there should be one pivot around which all are moving. So that pivot is important in every team. What I could understand from your explanations.
One thing I realize is if there's one leader, they can direct a lot of leaders.
Certainly.
They can direct a lot of non-leaders. Two, three, they can.
Mm.
But when there are, like as I said, 12 leaders, and you have to work as a team, and there's one person who's a non-leader who's not ready to listen, it becomes a problem.
Mm.
Although there are other 11 leaders, who will listen, who will take things forth, things will happen,
Mm.
but probably not in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And that is something I feel is required. So I don't want people to misunderstand this point, that okay, if he's saying that one leader can divert so many, why not 11 leaders can divert one single person? That is not
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. And make
Exactly.
it go smoothly, but
Mm.
probably not the way 12 leaders would have worked. For sure is an exponential graph.
Certain. Yeah, sure. Okay, but again, I'm coming to one more point, which you only mentioned in your first answer, that it's a common say nowadays that leaders are born. Usually, we say the leaders are born,
Hmm.
but today we are talking that we need to create the leaders. We need to teach to our youngsters that how they can learn the leadership skills. So, I just want to understand that are these two terms contradictory? That are we saying leaders are born, but yet at the same time we are saying that we need to create the leaders. So
Right.
what is the relation between these two terms?
Yes. So it often sounds very paradoxical, I know, but see, the fact that leaders are born, it has truth in the way you look at it. So for sure there are born leaders, but that does not mean that the ones who were not born leaders cannot become leaders. Okay, so this is very necessary to understand. So okay, I was a born leader. I found myself leading a lot of people from a young age. As I grew older and older and I found myself in the situations, I only bettered myself and bettered myself and bettered myself. I have a friend, I don't want to name them, but he's a wonderful human being. Was probably not a born leader, okay, but is one of the best leaders I know in today's time in my circles. Okay, so he was probably not in leadership roles initially, grew up fifth grade, sixth grade, and then one fine day he was the leader of a group project. Okay, he was put in that situation. He failed, miserably failed. His group did bad. Okay, um, tried another time, requested the teacher for another project, did again, failed again, kept trying, spoke to a few people out there, spoke to people who could teach him how to lead, watched videos on YouTube, spoke to me, I was somebody who he just seeked help from, spoke to so many people. And, he just kept learning and learning, grew, understood what leadership is, how things work, what is he lacking, what needs to be. And see, you can never change your personality. Okay, so let's say his name is just random name, Elvis. Let's say Elvis. Okay, so Elvis is the same person he was before, just garnished with leadership. So if there is one trait of leadership which does not match with his personality, he did not tarnish and change his personality to become a leader. He left that. But he saw what are the other traits that he can incorporate to become a leader. So he became a leader. Okay, but he did not change his personality, and that is very necessary.
Yeah.
Don't molding your personality is okay, but don't radically change your personality because you want to fit into the definition of a leader. Because trust me, unless and until you are yourself and you are the personality that you were born with, you can never be a leader. But yes, there are born leaders and there are made leaders. But whatever, there is no comparison between the two. At the end, what I am looking at is the leader. So I hope I have answered the
Beautiful,
question.
beautiful. And again, what I could understand from your reply is that anything and everything can be learned. We can, there are certain skill sets which we can acquire. But again, very beautiful point which you have mentioned. What is that? The qualities which you are having. So rather than thinking bad about that qualities, that oh my god, I'm not having that skill, first of all nurture that quality, understand it, then present it in a beautiful manner. Probably that is one of the important thing which you are highlighting. So superb, you have explained it so nicely. So again, you were just talking about the fundamental traits. So
Hmm.
again, I would like to ask, that is the important thing now, that what do you think, that what are the fundamental skills, or I can say the qualities, for a student, so that he or she can learn the good leadership skills, or he or she can be a good leader.
Okay. So, like, basically, what you're trying to ask me is, what are the good skills or qualities that a
Yes,
leader should have, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So first off, I mean, I don't think there's any bar line which says a student leader and an adult
Hmm.
leader. It's more or less the same thing.
Leader is always a leader.
Leader is a leader. So maybe no, I won't be able to cover all of them, but I'll try to cover as many as I can and I can think of at the moment because I'm very bad at making notes. So I'm giving you all the answers impromptu.
So that's the thing which we need in this discussion.
I feel because I mean I feel that when it comes from the heart, it's in the truest sense.
Always.
So yes. So okay, probably this is going to be my longest answer in this interview, so I'm just going to put a lot of things out. The first thing I can think of at the moment is the most cliche thing that everybody knows about leadership is to walk with everyone with you. Okay, a leader is like a teacher. That person, a leader is going to give everything they have to their teammates, even if it means that one of the teammates is going to surpass the leader himself. Okay, so if I know that this person has potential, I'm going to give them everything I have to grow. It might mean that might become better than me. It's okay, but I want them to grow. A leader is very, very selfless. So selflessness is one of those main qualities, and to be able to be generous enough to give everything you have and move along with everybody with you is one of the most like topmost qualities I feel that a leader should have. Okay. Second is that a leader is like an umbrella, I would say. Okay. So, as selfless and as overly giving it is going to sound right now, when a team makes a mistake, okay, maybe your team has goofed up, the leader is as what? Okay, 1 second. Before that, let me just clear this out. When I'm saying a leader, he is not the assigned leader of the group.
Hmm.
He is not put in charge of the
Yeah.
set of people
The
they're working.
unofficial one.
Yes, he's just one a part of the group. Okay.
Hmm.
So when the group goofs up, makes a mistake, it's a blunder. Okay, and now there are consequences. The leader steps up, the umbrella opens, and he takes responsibility for whatever happens. He's so if the entire team has to go through consequences, it has to be. But the whatever the extra bit that has to be taken will be taken by the leader. They're ready to take responsibility of what happened. Secondly, if it has to be one person to be held, responsible, the person will step forward, whether they had the in charge title or not. Even if there's an in charge, there might be some person who's actually a leader who might just walk in and say, okay, leave the
Hmm.
in charge out, leave the other members out, hold me responsible. Because they want to give that sense of safety to their um, team members. Okay, I'll come to safety after that. But at the same time, as I said, it is very selfless and overly giving. When the team will do the best, you will always see the leader in the background. It is the team who gets most of the credit.
Yeah.
This is for the, when I go to leadership conferences, or, I have attended a few where, we kind of test people who is the best, who could lead the team in the best way. So the moment it is seen that, one person pipes up and says, I led the group, it's over. That person can never be a leader. Okay, can never be a leader in sense, is not the leader at this point of time, in no sense is. Okay, because uh as I would say, one wrong deed washes all the good. Okay, so never ever will you see a leader trying to take credit of what they have done. Okay, the entire team will duly and warmly give them all the credit, but they won't go and ask for it.
Hmm.
Okay, so that is very important. So I know a wonderful leader, my teacher, Mrs. Sarkar, my English teacher, okay, the HOD of English at Hutchings High. We remember, she was the one, who used to coordinate with us all the time in school, when we were the color party and, we were organizing events and everything. And it was a final event. I think it was the Founders Day, if I'm not wrong. It was a final event as the color party of Hutchings High School. And, after that, we are going to have our boards and the new color party would come and, we would be out of office. So we were basically at the end of that event, we were going to give an acknowledgement. We were thanking people who have helped us. And we wanted Mrs. Sarkar's name to be exclusively mentioned and, given a lot of respect and importance because, I mean, she had done a lot. And, but we had to do it with permission, of course. And so we asked her that, Miss, can we do it? And the first thing she mentioned is never.
No.
No, not at all. And to even, amplify it, she had told us that the day you mention it, you'll be inviting my wrath. I still remember these words. You'll be inviting my wrath if you mention my name. Because she was doing it because she wanted us to grow. She was doing it because she wanted the school to prosper. And her motive had been achieved. As a leader, her whatever
But
motive.
I think Amey, she would be more than happy when she would be watching this episode.
Yes, for sure. So her vision had been achieved, and she didn't want anything beyond that, right? And I feel she's one of those teachers that, I mean, all of my teachers are wonderful, of course, but she's one of those teachers, whom I still go and text every time I do something. I mean, especially because she's my English teacher and I'm a writer, everything I do about writing, I share it with her. Every award I win, every small thing that happens in my life. And the kind of positivity that she radiates every time, the way, she's going to appreciate me or anybody in that general, I'm just telling my personal experience, the way she's going to be happy. She's very innocent kind of a lady. I don't know what to say, but she's very happy. She's a very jolly person. I mean, she's the HOD, and I'm sure she's going to keep growing and growing. One of the most senior and the most respected teachers at school. But the humility, the humbleness, the way she'll talk, the way she'll, I remember, recently I conducted a workshop at school. Okay, for some reason, I was working with an NGO, and I had to kind of go to school and do the small workshop, and there was a small miscommunication at the gate. Probably the watchman was new, and he had not been informed that we are going to come to do a workshop and stuff, and we struggled at the gate for some half an hour or so, etc. Whatever happened, we got in, we did our workshop, and we had to go the next day also again to conduct it for the other class. So that time, at the end, I just mentioned to her, Miss, please tomorrow just make sure that the watchman knows that we have to come, because we spent a lot of time there. And then, without thinking what position she is in, or what she is today, she immediately, I'm so sorry, Ameya, sorry, we're so sorry this happened. And you know I just know that is Mrs. Sarkar, and I didn't feel anything about it as such. And then I told her, no, no, miss, it's completely fine. And we share a very cordial relation. But after, like when I was coming home and I was sitting in the rickshaw, and I mean, that incident just popped up in my head. And I just realized that this is a lady who has worked in this school for 23 years, probably 23, 24 years. He's in one of the senior most positions of the school. She's probably not even supposed to know what the watchman is doing, has nothing to do with it, okay, when you look at it
Obviously.
from this. But she had the humility, she had the courtesy to immediately, without skipping a beat, apologize, saying that I'm so sorry this happened. And I mean, this is how I've just learned leadership from my teachers, in a way, you can say. But it just touched my heart at that moment, in that sitting in that
Even
rickshaw.
I could feel that movement when you are narrating. I can feel that movement.
Yes. So just imagine, no, what level she is on, and she has that humility. So, one second, maybe, if I can show you who Mrs. Sarkar is, I would love to. I'm not sure if I'll have her
And
photo
I'm
here.
waiting for this episode to be podcasted, and when the Miss Sarkar should watch that segment specifically.
Oh my God. I mean, she's one of the most wonderful. Just give me a second, maybe if I can just quickly find a picture of hers. Is as such. So, okay. So yes, I spoke about how they're selfless, how they're not credit seekers, all of that. Yes, they are listeners. Very importantly, they are big time listeners. Okay, so I would like to narrate a small hypothetical situation. Say there is a boss. Okay, so a, we are going to be talking about a good boss, a bad leader, and a good leader. Okay, in this context. So a bad boss, or a good boss, sorry, I'm sorry, a good boss or a bad leader, what they would do, suppose there is some agenda and there's a meeting. Okay, they'll walk into the meeting, put their folders down, look at all the faces around, and they'll tell them that this is the agenda, this is the task we're trying to achieve, this is the problem, this is everything we have to do. And the first thing they'll say is, I have this idea. Okay, so this is gonna the point of view of how things are gonna work. And I think we should go in this way. A bad boss will come in, tell that this is my plan of action, let's work on it. Okay, so all right, so a good boss or a bad leader would just walk in, just kind of, again, we cannot quantify if the leader is bad or
Hmm.
not, but
Hmm.
I'm saying in this specific regard. Okay, so they will all walk in, they will come in, they will just go like, yeah, this has to be done, and this is my task, and this is my plan of action. Now what do you have to say about it? What are your views, how things go? The first thing we need to notice is, the moment the leader or the boss has walked in and spoken about so much of his own thought process on it, out of the 100 people, 50% have already lost the confidence to give their ideas, because either they have assumed that this man is going to do what he wants to, or because you probably have a lot of experience and you have given so much, they feel inferior about what they wanted to share,
Hmm.
although their ideas might have been unique. So already we have come down to 50 people. And now Out of these 50 people, whatever, they will give their opinions and everything. What will a good boss do? Okay, thank you for your opinions, but we'll take them later. For now, we have a crunch of time. Let's work on what I've told you to. So you just kind of listen. It came in from one side, it went out the other, and that's it.
Hmm.
Coming down to what probably a bad leader, in a sense, would do is take it in, maybe just make a few minor modeling changes to his own idea, but at the end, it's his idea. That'll work. Now, what will a good leader do? Will he just take in all the ideas and crumple his idea? No. How a good leader will make a radical difference. Now, what will the good leader do? He comes in, he walks in, puts everything down, looks at everybody. He'll tell everybody, okay, guys, this is the problem. This is the agenda today, and this is the problem statement. Now, tell me, how do you think we should tackle this? He'll listen to all those 100 faces, and once everybody has listened to, then he'll say, great opinions. Now, let me just tell what I have to say also. Give his idea, and then sit with everybody and ideate. Okay, this person's point, okay, my point, your point, and then make a wonderful strategy. Because listening is the key. You cannot grow without listening. Okay, you know a lot. You have Harvard and Cambridge and Oxford degrees. Wonderful. Okay, but there might just be a small kid from a small village in the corner of India who has some idea which is very different from what your perception of the world is.
Yeah.
And it's insane how things happen. When I have been working in this sector of community service, I have met so many wonderful young kids, who are unfortunately underprivileged. But oh my, the way their minds work, because they are away from the complexities of the world, they're away from the prejudice, they're away from everything. And
And they are away from any kind of fear.
yes, and they're, pure action of thoughts. And they say when you have nothing to lose, you are the most incredible. And I think that is something very necessary that we really need to take into consideration. So, yes, listening is another very important quality that can be noted. And that is how, as I said, a good boss, good leader, bad leader works. Now, one thing, Simon says, I would like to say, he says, don't try to get the best out of people. Try, uh, or don't try to get the most out of people. Help them reach their potential best. Okay, so he gives this example that your employees or your co-workers or whoever they are to you are not tals, okay, from whom you're going to squeeze out as much water as you can. That is not what they are there for. What is the best they can do? Make sure you help them do it. Again, don't make them do it. You have to inspire action. You have to command action, not demand it. Okay, and you need to learn how to do it, and that is something you can only learn by yourself. That is not something, I think, maybe probably in the further discussions we are going to talk about how to gain leadership skills. So one thing about this specific skill I would like to mention now only, ki there is no specific way, there's nothing in specific that you can do to learn this skill. It is only going to come over time. And for that, you need to find yourself in leadership position. You need to believe that you're a leader. Apart from that, a few other things I have in mind is you need to trust your team. Your team needs to trust you. Very important. You have to build that trust over time. You need to have a vision, and that vision needs to, you have to work towards, because nobody's interested in what you're doing, what your current agenda is. They need to be led by a leader who has a vision which they share. And so having that one vision is very necessary. And the one person cannot be led in the same way by another leader as he is by his own leader, probably. Okay, not that the other leader is bad, but probably their visions somewhere don't match. It could be a difference. Yes, but yes, for sure, the other leader can always make sure that somehow the two visions get incorporated in each other. But yes, so having a vision is necessary. Yeah, make your teammates feel safe. They need to find a safe place to work for action, for two reasons. Is anything that's going to attack them from outside, they need to know ki my leader will protect me, my leader, because that is very necessary. So when I was in my Robinson house, okay, like red house at school, and I used to take these auditions or train students. One thing I used to tell them is that till the end, you know, like, okay, I'll take a very basic example of elocutions. Okay, I used to train students for elocutions in the fifth, sixth, seventh grades. Job, the kids who used to be there, I was in seventh, eighth grade that time. So I used to tell them that work hard till the day your elocution is there. Okay, there are going to be judges coming in. There are going to be people out there. There, all the different houses representatives are going through different kinds of trainings, and all are going through with the best kind of training. And it's only one is going to win. But I want you to unleash your creativity. I want you to try your best. And if on that last day I see that you have grown exponentially from what you were at the start, for me, you're a winner. I don't, no matter what the teachers will say, no matter, I will handle. I will see what what to answer teachers if you don't win.
Hmm.
Okay, but you do things your way and be the best you possibly can at the end, and that is what is going to make you win in my eyes. And that helped the Robinson House students so much, in so many different ways. They grew. And let me tell you one thing, this is very beautiful, that for whatever time I have been in elocutions at Hutchings, Robinson has always won elocutions
Oh,
consistently. There might have been ties, but Robinson has never lost. Out of three, at least two were Robinson, always. So we had like
great.
sixth, seventh grade. So at least two first rankers were always Robinson, for sure. And I wouldn't say it was because of me or something, but I know that freedom of creativity, and that is something Mrs. Handa inspired me in. Okay, so Mrs. Handa was my um was the house mistress, the teacher coordinator for Robinson, now the head
This is
teacher
the
of
third name I'm writing now.
so she was the head teacher of Robinson House. I think 2 years after, I actually met her, she left school. But she inspired this in me. Okay, she used to give us that freedom, and I think that is something I carried forward. And the results are there that Robinson won. Last two things I have to tell you, and then we could surely move to the next question. Is one, go out there. I don't need to speak a lot about this because it's self-explanatory, and there's a book on this by Simon Sinek, and it is the very self-explanatory explanation: leaders eat last. Okay, put yourself at the end. Leaders grow when their team grows. It is going to follow, but you have to make sure that you're giving your best to the world. So that is something, and I don't want to delve too much into this. Whoever who really wants to know what is leaders eat last, please go and read the book. The best book I would suggest for leadership. And last thing I want to share is something Amrit sir, Mr. Amrit Jadhav. He's India's leading memory coach, and I was taking an interview with him sometime back, just probably yesterday or a few days back, I guess, 2 days back, I think, yes. So I was interviewing him basically, and I asked him what leadership is to him. And one of the very essential things he told is, whatever you want to do it now. Right now is the time when you have to do it. Okay, take immediate action. Okay, you have a vision, you have a goal, start working, mobilize resources, mobilize people, share your views with people, like-minded people, tell them what you want to do and lead the way, and you'll reach there. So starting now is another thing. So yes, that is something I would like to share.
Okay, so I'm just summarizing this whole story now. I just remember a few of the points which you have mentioned. I remember one metaphor that was the leader is like an umbrella. I remember about the safety. I remember about the humility, the humbleness, and the leader speaks at last. They should have a vision. They should make their team feel safe. They should be able to see not the last product, but they should be able to see the trajectory in which their team members are moving. And the last and the most important thing which you have just mentioned, that change happens now. It happens in this moment only. So whatever, my next question was that only, but I believe you have started giving a little glimpse about that answer as well. That whatever qualities you have just discussed now, the skills you have just discussed now. So one point I got that if any student want to learn about all those skills and all those techniques, all those qualities, so they can definitely go and start reading books. But on the other side, to learning all those things, is it essential that they should have any mentor or any coach with them, or just by reading books they can understand everything, or are there any other methods or other techniques which they can just start understanding the beauty of this part and start learning all these things?
Alright, so I just asked somebody to send me Mrs. Sarkar's photo just to yes, so because basically it's in my mother's phone, I never used my phone till I was in 10th. I didn't have one myself. So okay, coming back to your question, right? How to learn how to be a leader. Having mentors, having somebody, who can tell you what leadership is, teach you what it is wonderful. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it is surely a catalyst. I mean, you're a chemistry professor, ma'am, so you know better. It's for sure a catalyst, but it is not required, okay, as such. You can never say that if I don't have a mentor, I will never become a leader. That is not the way it works. But yes, having a mentor is always very wonderful.
Okay.
One thing you can do is take up um, responsibilities, take up group projects, do internships. If you can always probably find me somewhere on Instagram or something, and text me. I have a whole lot of internships that we are providing at Zeal at the moment. But Zeal is not the only place. Of course, there are a lot of other places where you can take up internships, learn a lot. Okay, and I'm sure you'll be able to grow in the way a leader is supposed to. Okay, so I would like to give two examples. Okay, so leadership and see, leader, there is no specific thing. Okay, I did this big internship at Mercedes Benz. Now I'm a leader. No, doesn't work out. Doing 15 internships in different youth organizations is much more than doing one internship at Mercedes Benz, probably. Okay, so I'm just giving an example. I have never worked at Mercedes Benz, so I don't know. So, but
Yeah,
I'm
this
just
is just a metaphor.
yeah. So learning leadership, imbibing leadership is a process. Okay, it's never going to be like there's a Harvard Youth Leadership Conference happening somewhere recently. Okay, I have heard of it. Unfortunately, because of my busy schedules, I have not been able to attend it. But it's not like, okay, I attended the Harvard YLC and now I'm a leader. Doesn't work that way, right? So what I'll tell you something my guitar teacher tells me. Okay, so I'm giving the Trinity exam for guitar now, and what my teacher tells me is that Ameya, you don't need to keep working like you don't need to kind of, what could you say, um you don't need to practice 5 hours a week. Okay, so say you have a lot of time on Sunday, sit down, practice guitar for 5 hours straight, and he says you are religious enough to do it for 5 hours, the same tune. It will not help. Do it for just 20 minutes a day. Okay, so that probably makes it what, 2 hours in 2.5 hours a week, probably somewhat on those lines. Even that is enough, but do it 20 minutes a day consistently.
Consistency.
Yes, and that is how you will be able to play that tune well or become a good guitarist, right? It is somehow it works in friendship also. So now I'll tell you a funny story again. I have a friend called Tanishka Shah, awesome leader. Okay, like one of the best people I know, one of my closest friends whom I share, whom I tell everything about, what I know, what I do, and everything, every new venture I'm starting. Yeah, someone very close to me. And so one fine day, Okay, I'll tell how we started. We were rivals. Okay, so we didn't know each other. We were in fifth grade, I remember, and we both were opposite to each other. We were the strongest proposers for becoming the fifth grade representative of Robinson House in the first elocution competition we could ever attend. There was cutthroat competition between us two. Okay, and that is how we started. And but I remember, I think Tanishka was always a leader. You know, So I remember Ka had given her audition, and she was like somebody who was like mostly going to become the person. And I had gone the second day. Already, and there was already a lot of bluff that, oh, Tanishka Shah, okay. And then I went and I gave my audition, and yeah, so there was already, and then I went the second day when Tanishka was around, and I gave, and then the teacher said, okay, I remember ki that was Mrs. Handa who said it, that okay, for now, if I have to forward a name, Ameya, I'll forward yours. Okay. And everybody started whispering, oh my god, now Ameya is also there. And I still remember Tanishka was still there, and I didn't know who Tanishka was. Tanishka didn't know who Ameya was, but we were in the same class, I guess. And she just said, Ameya, congratulations, wonderful. She didn't feel, I don't think she even felt that little bit, because she wanted the best. Whoever is the best should go. Okay. And let me tell you, she ended up going that year. I didn't go. Okay. But she had the, she knew what her potential was, and she had the decency also to accept the
And
others.
at that age in grade fifth.
Yes. And I mean, I don't know if I would have done the same. I probably would have. I probably wouldn't have. I don't know. Okay. So that basically that is another story, but that is how we started.
Hmm.
Right. And we grew. We did so many elocutions together. We did so many, we anchored so many events at school together. We were in the color party together, and we were one of the best teams out there, probably. We represented schools in so many summits together. And I know that if there is a debate today and only one person is going to get selected, okay, and Tanishka doesn't know about it, I will never hide it from Tanishka. I'll tell Tanishka, there is, let's both apply. And whoever happens to get a chance goes in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, sometimes she does. But we never find the need to hide it from each other. We don't ever need. So the first, she's very wonderful at graphic design. Okay, the first person when I opened Z, like, contacted was Tanishka. I need you for graphic design. Would you like to be the head of department? Um, whatever opportunities come in our way, okay, whatever things happen. From so today, I cannot visualize any of my projects without Tanishka being in it, because she's one of the best people I know. But how did we come to this point where sometimes we didn't even have to communicate when we were doing our um color party tasks. Okay, presentation she used to make, I used to do the scripting and stuff. And it used to be so funny that the script I wrote used to be in perfect alignment with the presentation she had made, because she exactly knew what Ameya is expecting and I exactly knew what Tanishka is expecting.
That's a
So,
mutual understanding.
and how did it happen? Did it happen one fine day? Oh my God, she said, congratulations, Ameya. Now we are friends? No. Okay. It happened over time of working together, of listening to each other, of understanding each other, of not being envious of each other. Arvind was another friend of mine, one of the best students we had at Hutchings, and then he shifted to Mumbai quite early on. Wonderful person. He was never envious of, we were never envious of each other. We were cutthroat competitors when it came to academics, but never did we have bad blood. We used to tell each other, Arvind, study this, Arvind, do that. He used to tell me, Ameya, do this, this is better, this will help you. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, one thing is I'm highlighting leadership here, that not to be envious of another leader, not to be envious of somebody else. And secondly, we built this trust in each other over time. I became a relatively nice guitarist over time of consistency.
Yeah.
I became wonderful friends with Tanishka over time of consistency. Arvind and I are very closely bonded friends who are doing wonderful both in academics, over consistent trust over each other. So, like friendships grow over time, like guitar or any other kind of musical instrument learning and skills grows over time, leadership grows in you over time. The only thing you need to do is have a trustworthy relationship with yourself, believe that you can do it, that you are a leader. And second is consistently try to be that good person in whichever group, regardless of your position in that group, and to give the most. And that is how you'll become a leader. So to just summarize, is this consistency and belief that will make you a leader.
Beautifully
Yes.
compiled all the stories, and I believe this episode is going so long and long. I have many questions to ask, but I will just try to wrap up quickly all my remaining questions. But yes, you are giving a lot of insights to our all our listeners and viewers. So again, one interesting question which is just popping up now from your discussions, though I'll just try to wrap up fast.
Yeah.
Just one important question, that do you think that all the students are needed to develop this leadership skills, or there are certain specific set of students
Hmm.
who are aiming for a specific career options in their life, they only need to learn those skills, or is it for everyone?
Right. So I'll try to answer these quickly so that probably
Yeah.
you can cover all the questions you have for me. Okay. Because and in any which case, I think the major questions we just tackled now. So yes. So every single person, as we said, why leadership was important is something we discussed earlier, right? So similarly, every person, regardless of their careers, to grow, everybody does a career for a chosen purpose. Okay. Apart from money, there is something involved. Okay. Probably an entrepreneur wants to see himself in that big, maybe there's I know of an entrepreneur friend. Okay, he wants to see himself in that list of the top 500 most influential people in the world. That is his purpose in life. There are people who do law, who do arts for different purposes. So to grow closer and closer and closer to your purpose, leadership is the only way, because you will grow in your career regardless of anything. If you're good at it, you're going to grow. But to able to achieve a personal aim while also doing justice to your career is something leadership will help you achieve. So regardless of what career you choose, I think leadership is very necessary.
Okay. And one important thing which I could understand from your conversation is you have mentioned the name of highly reputed teachers from your school. But still, I want to ask this, that what do you feel about the Indian education system? I'm asking specifically the Indian education system. Do you think that our education system is capable of developing the future leaders? What opportunities you are seeing here, because you have experienced a lot, and what challenges you are seeing there?
Okay, so this is very interesting, and I could always go on and on about this. Indian education system is not focused on leadership, I would say. But that does not mean that it is not capable of making leaders. I've seen a lot of students who have gone through all state boards, national boards, ICSE, IGCSE, IB, all kinds of education systems in India prevalent, and are wonderful leaders. Okay, it is leadership is something that you have to develop, as I said, on your own. It's an external thing. But yes, and sometimes Indian education system does retire. Now, I am lucky enough to have been coming from Hutchings High School, where we had such an exposure to so many extracurriculars, so many things to do. But I have also met people who have never heard of what probably good MUN is, or who don't know how to lead, or what leadership is, never considered it too important,
Yeah.
right? So that is also there. So my story is very different because I come from a very reputed school, and a very well-to-do school, which is very good stature. But it is not the same. So and why not possibly? So I would say ki Indian education system doesn't have a conducive environment as such for leadership building. But who wants to be a leader will always be a leader. So yes, but I feel that probably adding subjects like leadership or communications or effective listening and learning to the curricula of Indian education system could be a wonderful boon. And these have to be more like practical subjects
Yes.
than theory. And I think that is something I would say about Indian education system. A leader who wants to be one will always be one, But if you ask me what Indian education system is doing for leadership, I don't think it's doing much in my opinion.
I wish that this podcast should reach to our education ministers and those authorities, because nowadays I'm reading a lot of news in the newspaper that NCRT is in the process of changing a lot of stuff in the textbooks of, especially I'm talking about NCRT. So if they understand that what youth needs, what is the need of the hour, and what are the lacunas, if they are just in a process of filling up those lacunas, so why not fill one of the important lacuna, which is the leadership skills, as you are also telling about it.
There are
They
so many
should do
different
something about it.
there are so many different ways in which a student can be tested.
Yeah.
Say I was ill when I was giving a specific exam. That does not define how good I am, right? So probably there's so much that can be done in the IES, but yes, leadership is a very big lacuna that needs to be filled for
That
sure.
needs to be filled. Yeah, I understood. But Amay, I'm just moving towards the end of this discussion. One important point, which is just in my mind since the starting, you mentioned that you run an NGO, and it's so fascinating and inspiring on the other side to listen that the students who is in grade 12 and running an NGO. So I could understand that it's a part of your legacy. I could understand from this conversation that it is coming from deep down. But again, I just want to understand that if any students who are listening this particular episode, if they feel that what is this NGO and how you can join, if you can quickly explain that how they can contact you for that particular NGO.
So all you have to do is, first of all, the Zeal as an organization works for personality development in five aspects. That is mental health, Gen Z taboos, communication skills, self presentation, and academics. These are the five main domains under which we work. We try and provide a little bit of funding for the underprivileged students. We do workshops free of cost for the underprivileged. We do paid workshops for the relatively private school students, etc. And our interns are a wonderful cohort, and there's a lot to learn in the internship program itself also. What I really need to say is that it is a wonderful opportunity to join Zeal, or even if you want to learn something, because you'll meet wonderful leaders internationally. You'll meet Samira, you'll meet me, you will have,
Even I would like to meet Samara.
for sure. So, you'll have a wonderful time with us here. All you need to do
We
is,
can even we can have a specific episode with Samira whenever she is free. We would love to discuss more about that. Yeah,
yeah,
please
we
continue.
could do a Zeal workshop, probably a Zeal interview. So, yes, so all you have to do is probably just find out about Zeal. So you can do one thing is, you can find me on Instagram. I've mentioned my handle earlier. Probably in a day or two, Zeal's socials will be out. You can find Zeal on Instagram, or you can I'll just mention my number. That is 9890013064. You can contact me on this number. Please message me, and I will surely revert to you. And I'll help you out on how you can join Zeal in any which field you want to. And yes, so that's what you can do.
Yeah, that would be a great help. And with your permission, I think if you allow, I will give all these your Instagram handles and your contact details in the description of this episode as well, so that they can connect better.
Yes, for sure.
I am so overwhelmed with all the discussions which we have done till now. So, just a final words from your side to all the youngsters, to all the viewers, to all the listeners, not only to the students, to the entire community to whom we are addressing. So, any message you want to convey to each and everyone, because our audience is not only the students, they are everyone. So, the policymakers, the students, the parents, the teachers, everyone. Your message to everyone.
I have two things to say. One is, the first thing is believe in yourself and trust the process. It is Things are going to work out. Sometimes you're trying your best, but everything is not conducive. And one day you're just going to get up. Probably the very moment you get up, probably in the middle of the day, or probably just before you're going to end the day, you just realize that things are changing, and slowly it takes such a huge turn. It's happened with me in the very, very recent past. Okay, so I don't want to get into what happened and how things went, but it happened, and I used to believe that these are just folklores, nonsense people tell me what things are going to change. Okay, Although I was an optimist, I used to always wonder. So, but it did, like a miracle, like a, what you can say, divine intervention. What happened, I don't know, but it just turned the tables all around. And something I really wanted to do for a long time, I'm able to do it. So I think that is there. I met Sumaira, I started Zeal. It just happened all of a sudden. It was a late night, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. call. 4 hours and Zeal organization was made. Okay, so things happen. And second thing I would like to tell is support others, especially to the parents. Support your kid, support your child in what they want to do. There's no field out today which says you're dumb, you can't earn. There's nothing of those sorts. Let them grow in whatever they feel they're good at. Let them explore. And only then will we meet the our vision of a world full of wonderful human beings who are satisfied with themselves, which we, I think, highly lack today, and with world class leaders out there. So I think that's something I would like to share. And yes, that's my message to everybody who's out there.
Amazing, amazing. Means I can feel your each and every word. I can feel the word divine intervention. Means a boy who is in this age is speaking about these words. That means a lot. A person who is speaking about the support system, support everyone, share with everyone, is sharing a lot of insight at this common platform, sharing all the highs and lows on this common platform. It's commendable. I cannot say more than anything, but God bless you. Whatever you are thinking, whatever you plan to do, just God bless you. And everyone whosoever is watching this episode, whosoever is listening this episode, I believe you all would be getting uh, if you start writing the notes, you would be able to make at the end of this episode a small ebook, which definitely can be forwarded to many of the people. That's what I can say at the end. So thanks a lot, Amey, for this wonderful discussion. And I will love to tag 2, 3 people in this conversation. One, your teachers, your friends to whom you have mentioned, and your, especially one important thing, your parents.
Yes,
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much, Amit. Thanks a lot. Yeah.